Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk. We're here every Monday night at Dugan's Pub, where we talk all things Brevard College athletics. In just a few moments, I'll be joined by the two gentlemen on my left, head baseball coach Mike Victory and assistant coach Rob Julian. But a few housekeeping items before we get to the baseball coaching staff. Do want to thank our sponsors, Arby's, Jets Pizza, Holiday Inn Express, Hampton Inn, Ingalls, Mission Sports Medicine, Comporium, Pepsi, and the home of Tornado Talk, Dugan's Pub. Some breaking news in the world of Brevard College athletics. 4 USA South Athletes of the Week handed out to Tornadoes today. 2 on the football side, Tay Sullivan, Football Defensive Rookie of the Week, and Football Special Teams Player of the Week, punter Jackson Youngblood. Congratulations to Sullivan and Youngblood winning USA South Athlete of the Week awards. Men's Soccer Rookie of the Week goes to Lucas Campos of Brevard College. And for the second time this season, Men's Cross Country Runner of the Week award goes to Gavin Morgan. So congratulations to those 4 Tornadoes. The Athlete of the Week count now up to 6. A guest later on the show, Rebecca Rojas of women's soccer, won the award. And as mentioned, Gavin Morgan's won the award twice. Football, a big win this weekend that we'll be recapping later in the show. A 40-9 victory over Allen University in Columbia, South Carolina. We'll be talking a lot of Tornado football later in the show. They'll be back in action this weekend, 3 p.m. kickoff at Brevard Memorial Stadium, the homecoming game versus Maryville. Cycling, we'll be talking to a few of the cycling student athletes a little later in the show as well. Their successful mountain biking season continues. They had a race up in Bristol, Virginia, and more podiums, more race wins, victorious in 8 of the 12 events that the Tornadoes were involved in. And they are gearing up and continue to gear up for the big USA Cycling Mountain Bike National Championships, October 11th through 13th. Men's soccer had a big win over the weekend, a 2-1 conference overtime win over LaGrange in LaGrange, Georgia. A golden goal by Lucas Campos, who won one of those Athlete of the Week awards for USA South. He scores the golden goal less than 2 minutes into the first overtime period for Coach El Dana's squad as they earn their first win of the season, a 2-1 overtime win over LaGrange. Women's soccer, we'll be talking some women's soccer later in the show as well with a couple guests. Freshman midfielder Brianna Link with a goal in the 108th minute, so another golden goal, this one in the second overtime period in Charlotte for a win over Johnson and Wales. That was last week. Over the weekend, a tough 2-0 loss at Covenant. The Tornadoes women's soccer team will be back in action tomorrow, Tuesday, October 1st, 6 p.m. versus Piedmont College. Volleyball headed to Montgomery, Alabama, matches versus both Huntington and LaGrange. A career-high 28 assists for freshman setter Pukas, and O'Shields with 11 kills was the leading attacker. Madriana Rodriguez defensively led the Tornadoes with 28 digs, all in that LaGrange match. Cross-country, we mentioned Gavin Morgan and his success, a new personal record 8K at the Queen City Invitational in Charlotte, to en route to that USA South Athlete of the Week award. Tennis teams were in another side of North Carolina, long drive from here that, you know, our buddy Joseph Marvin accompanied the team for that one, heading over to Pfeiffer. Women's tennis wins 8-1. Men's tennis drops their match 8-1, concludes the fall portion of the schedule for the women's tennis team. Men's tennis team will be in action this weekend, McCoy Tennis Complex, 1 p.m. Saturday versus Emory and Henry. And that brings us to my guest on the left here, head coach Mike Victory, assistant coach Rob Julian, the coaching staff for the Brevard College Tornadoes. I want to officially introduce you now to NATO Nation and to our audience here at Tornado Talk. Guys, thanks for coming on the show, and I can do it formally now. Welcome to Brevard, North Carolina, and Brevard College.
Thank you. Excited to be here. This is awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Well, first question is a simple one and kind of an open-ended one for each of you. You know, since you've arrived here, you know, back in August 1st, the month of August, how's it been so far?
It's been a lot so far. A lot going on. Got to learn a lot of guys' names. Got to learn the staff. Got to learn the school. Got to learn the area. But it's been a fun challenge for me and for Coach Julian to take on. We've been through our fall season at this point in time. We started probably a little earlier than we would have wanted to start, but we wanted to get with these guys as soon as we possibly could. Had a lot to teach and a lot to. Let me get a little closer there, Coach. There. Thanks, Joseph. A lot to teach these guys about our brand of baseball and about the way we wanted to do things. Coach has awesome stuff that he's bringing for all of our pitchers and doing things a little bit different with our hitters, and then just letting our guys play as much as possible.
Yeah, kind of piggybacking off him a little bit. It's been a lot. We've been busy, but it's been fun. I think I would say, coming down here, not really knowing what to expect, either of us, and the community, the rest of the staff, the administration, the faculty, everyone's been receptive of us and kind of have welcomed us with open arms. So I don't think we could really ask for, a better situation right now to be in.
Now, do want our audience to get to know you all a little better and your background, especially in baseball and in the coaching world. Coach Victory, we'll start with you. 3 seasons as an assistant coach at Allegheny College in Pennsylvania, also an NCAA D3 institution. Can you talk about your experience there in Allegheny and perhaps, where your coaching career really started as far as the seed being planted?
Sure. Coaching's been something that I've always been around. My mom's been a coach. I was basically born in a gym, so I was always around her. And, growing up as a player, it was always, who do you want to talk to, Coach Mom or Mom? And she taught me a lot about, the way I interact with players and some of the personality traits that I have now. Growing up in Massachusetts, playing cold weather baseball was my way of doing things, but I wanted to go south. Ended up in Maryland, Division III also, played Division III baseball, coached there for 4 years. I thought I was going to be a teacher. I really did. That's what my degree's in, but baseball was there. My head coach, who's a living legend in the state of Maryland, in the High School Hall of Fame there, has won 300 games, and he was nice enough to let me help out and got to work with a lot of guys. And then I was blessed enough to get my first full-time job up at Allegheny. That's where I first met Coach Julian, who was a senior pitcher up there. It was different up there. Allegheny is a perennial winner. They're one of the most winning programs in the country. They've been to the College World Series. They've been to regionals, and they were a little down when we got there, and it was fun to get them back to a conference championship and play at the highest level against top 10 teams year in and year out. I learned a lot there, the way they approach the game, the way they practice, and what they do on a daily basis. And we're bringing that down here, and we're treating these guys like champions, and that's what we've told them. We're going to treat them like champions. We're going to work them like champions until, if they don't want to be champions anymore, we'll stop.
Outstanding. And Coach Julian, if you can tell the audience a little bit about your background as well, most recently at Mercyhurst University in Pennsylvania.
So, yeah, I was Mercyhurst Northeast. It's a junior college up in Pennsylvania, and I got to meet a lot of good people up there and have a lot of good experiences with a really good coach. We have a really good relationship with Mercyhurst University, one of the best Division II programs in the country. Their head coach Joe Spano, he's a living legend. He's well respected around the coaching world, and I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from our head coach as well, Jake Marinelli at Mercyhurst Northeast, and just being able to be around good players and learn from guys that have gone on and been successful. And then obviously as a player, playing for coach for a year, had a chance to play for a couple other guys that were really, really helpful in my development, both as a player and now moving forward as a coach. Just having those guys you can text if you have a question, and they'll help you out or answer you. And then obviously having the opportunity to come down here with Coach was awesome, and I think he had to convince me a little more than he would have liked to, but I'm happy about it, and it all worked out.
Excellent. Well, we're certainly glad you're both here. Now, you just completed fall practice that you alluded to, and included a exhibition doubleheader against Mars Hill, I believe, on a Sunday afternoon. Certainly a lot of work for you guys to get to know this roster that you have, but also for the team to get to know you all as well, I would imagine. What were sort of the impressions and the positives that you felt coming out of fall practice?
Mm-hmm. We've seen a lot of development in our arms. Coach Julian and I brought driveline pitching with us, something the guys haven't really done before. It's going to help with our guys stay healthier and hopefully gain a little bit of velo. And some of our guys have already seen some gains there, and they pitched really well. Mars Hill's a really good hitting team. They hit a lot of balls out of the park, and other than one bad pitch, we kept them inside the park. And losing the first game 3-1, we had our opportunities. We had guys on base and just didn't cash in, and that's something the guys see and recognize as something we got to work on. And in the second game, it was the same thing. It was 8-3, could have been 4-3 if we had one bad inning went against us. But the pitchers pitched extremely well from the first guy to the last guy, and that's exciting for us to see. And we got to look at everyone on our roster in terms of live at bats. It's a different feel when you're playing another team as opposed to scrimmaging yourselves again for the 6th or 7th time that fall. I think it was great for our guys to build energy and understand what it's like to want to win a game and make winning important, and also to be out there for a doubleheader. A doubleheader nines are long days, and that's what we're going to have to do in conference and stay up and stay energetic. So,
Coach, similarly, you like what you saw from your pitching staff?
Yeah, definitely. One of our, kind of bouncing off him, one of our core values is one day better. We're going to try to get, one day better at something every single day. And I think our guys, really embrace that, and they kind of understand that, us only getting a certain number of days to be with them, we don't have time to lose days, so we have to be able to improve every single day on something. Maybe it's, you're throwing a bullpen and, the last bullpen you were, 55% strikes and now you're 57. That's an improvement. We can work with that. So it's nice to see the guys, buy in and really kind of accept us and accept our culture moving forward.
Very good. Well, as we turn the page now, spring practice, January 20th is the date for that to get started. February 8th at William Peace to open the season, and then February 21st, home versus Piedmont. Can you let us behind the curtain a little bit between now and that start of spring practice? What goes on in a baseball office?
Sure. It's tough for us not being able to be in contact with the guys and really work with them. I think we've set them up really, really well to get stronger and to get more in shape for the baseball season in the weight room. The weight program that coaches brought with them is top notch, and our guys really bought in and listened while we were able to be with them. And for us, it's getting the little things ready right now. It's guys need new uniforms, so we're trying to get them new uniforms. It's getting our charts ready, going through scenarios in our head. Having our offices right next to each other, we'll go in there and pop in and just say, hey, if this happens, what are you thinking? And trying to be ready for everything that could come at us before then. January seems like a really far ways away, but for us, it can't get here quick enough. And I wish there was more we could do.
Yeah, kind of the same thing that he mentioned. This is kind of the worst time, because you want to be able to be out there and you want to be able to, see the guys, but we can't. We have a good group of captains, a good group of leaders that we trust to make sure that things continue business as usual. And come springtime, we'll be ready to go and ready to do some things.
You mentioned the captains. Have you named the captains for this year's team?
We did. It was we went through a group voting or team voting process, and we talked to the guys about what we expect out of leadership, and that being a captain's sometimes viewed as a privilege, but for us, the way we look at it is it's a burden you got to carry. Being a captain and being a leader on a team, it's a lot. We expect more out of you. You're held accountable differently than everybody else. We went with 5 different guys. We have 2 seniors, Cross Robinson, who's going to be one of our better pitchers when we come back. Tristan Jones is a catcher on the team who's a guy that doesn't necessarily get to play every day, but he's someone they call him Dad. He's the guy that everyone looks up to and holds guys accountable, and you're going to get 100% out of him every single day. It doesn't matter if it's a practice and inter squad or it's the real deal championship on the line. He's going to be there all in. 2 juniors, J.J. Wilkes, who's an infielder for us and who's just destroying baseballs right now. He's really bought in and has listened to what we have to say, and he's a leader in the weight room and on the field, and we're teaching him a lot about the game. And Ben Melton's a junior pitcher. He's a guy that just goes out there and gets his business done. He's not the most vocal guy. We're asking for him to speak up a little bit more, but he's just a great pitcher out there. And then we went with a sophomore, our shortstop, Jason Jucker, who's the field general out there. He has to listen to me talk more about signs and plays than anybody else does, and if we're going to go places, he's going to have to be a leader on the field. So.
Sounds like a great core group there to provide that leadership within
Absolutely.
the clubhouse and on the field.
Yep.
Guys, I'll leave you with this. Certainly recruiting season is always on the mind of coaches, and you all are relative newcomers, of course, to Brevard College and Brevard, North Carolina, but getting acclimated quickly. If there was a message you could tell recruits from throughout the country, all 50 states, why coming here to Brevard College and being a part of this baseball program would be the smart move to make.
Want to go first on this one?
Yeah, I think a lot of things that we tell guys are, you can, obviously we're setting, a new culture and trying to change things a little bit where, guys can come here and kind of be that floor of a change, and then hopefully by the end of it, by the time, they're juniors, they're seniors, we've reached kind of the penthouse and we've achieved our goal of what we want to do. So I think just having an opportunity to come in here and kind of change the way of a program a little bit is an exciting thing, and it's definitely something that I would be excited about and that I am excited about.
When I was interviewing for the job, and you'd ask why Brevard, and for me, the USA South is one of the best places to play baseball in the country. We beat up on each other weekend after week out, and sometimes we'll send one team, sometimes we'll send 3 teams to a regional, but that everyone you're playing are some of the best teams in the country with guys that have a higher division caliber, but they choose to go to a smaller school, and academics are a little bit more important. In a small program, a small school, small class sizes are important. And those are the things that Brevard has. And for me, it's come out here and check us out. Come look at Brevard College. And that was for me driving down here the first time for my interview and driving into town, coming through the mountains, seeing that it's an awesome small town with a cool downtown, with places to eat, things to do, the nature all around it. It's a very unique place. And if you want a unique experience where we're going to treat you like champions and we're going to shoot to win a USA South title and move on past that, then Brevard College is a great place for you.
Outstanding. Well, gentlemen, thanks for coming on the show tonight. We're excited to see the program continue to build up in the direction you all are leading it. And officially, one last time, welcome to Brevard, North Carolina, and Brevard College. We're happy you all are Tornadoes.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We'll see you this spring.
All right. Thanks, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Happy to be here. Go Steelers.
Head coach Mike Victory and assistant coach Rob Julian of that Brevard College Tornadoes baseball program. Great to have those two coaches on and their official welcome on Tornado Talk. And always fun to talk a little baseball on September 30th. Before we know it, we'll be there for that spring baseball start of the practice. And we will switch gears kind of both literally and figuratively here with these next two guests. Great to be joined now by Hannah Dixon and Nathan St. Clair. Great to have you guys back on Tornado Talk.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Yeah, both veterans of the show. Always good to see some familiar faces. Well, a event this past weekend up in Bristol. It was kind of interesting because it was a 2-day event, but, we decided as a team just to participate in one day of the event. One day of the event was in Bristol, Virginia. The other day was in Bristol, Tennessee. So, the town, if you go downtown in Bristol, there's actually a place you can stand. You put one leg on Tennessee and one leg on Virginia, if you can believe that. But anyway, you guys were up there in Bristol, and another big weekend for the mountain bike team. Some big results on the downhill side. How was the weekend for each of you?
It was really fun. I really enjoyed the cross-country course. I thought the downhill was super awesome.
It was good. It was nice to get back on the bike. I just came off of 2 injuries since pretty much July, and it was really nice to get back to racing, especially being out there with the whole team. So it was an awesome weekend overall.
Well, great to hear that, Nathan, and great to hear that you're healthy again. Can you share with us a little bit what you went through in terms of these injuries?
Well, in July, I was actually racing out in Colorado at Mountain Bike Nationals, and I took a little fall and broke my ulna, and then I got all healed up from that. I raced one of the races in the beginning of the conference, And then we were doing a training weekend up in Mars Hill, and I took a little fall and broke one of the bones in my hand. And so I've actually been out and missed, I think it was 3 races. So this was actually my first weekend back.
Well, great to have you back, and you certainly came back, with flying colors, winning men's A downhill. Tyler Rochelle places second, and in fact, there were 5 top 5 or top 10 finishes in that men's A downhill, as Carson Beckett finishes 5th, Will Hegedus finishes 6th, and Lucas Pound 8th. Meanwhile, Hannah, you mentioned the cross-country course. You also raced downhill, right?
Yeah, I did.
Now, is that something fairly new for you? Because if I remember right, last year you were mainly, participating on the cross-country side.
I did race downhill last year, but I did start like my freshman year here. I didn't really race downhill before then.
Very good. Now, Hannah, I would like to stick with you on this next question, and I asked your teammate Nicole Rusden the same thing. This year's roster has quite a few more female racers than you had last year. So there's this whole kind of, whether I'm looking at the results, women's A cross country, women's B cross country, women's C cross country, the downhill races, the short track cross country. I'm seeing Brevard female racers throughout those standings. It seems like a completely different dynamic we have this year. What's it been like for you to have that many more female teammates?
I've really enjoyed it personally. Last year I definitely started on some start lines alone in the mountain bike races and stuff, which was I didn't have teammates on the line, and I like to really socialize with the races. So it's been really fun to have people to talk to.
Nice. Now, kind of similar question for you, Nathan. I think we've got more depth on the gravity side of things this year than we did last year as well. Guys like Max Boyk and Bryant Bowl. Suddenly we've got, a little depth on the downhill side, and some of those cross-country sort of specialists, if you want to call them, are, are racing a little more on the downhill side. Can you talk about the Tornadoes as a unit getting more involved in the gravity events?
Absolutely. I mean, the incoming freshmen this year they've been on point. They showed up ready to go and have been killing it at all the races, and everybody's been a team player. We're all helping each other out at all the races, and then like you're saying, even the cross-country squad, those guys are really good riders, and everybody's super talented. And really, the team this year has really came together, and it's been awesome so far. And we're hoping to carry that momentum on to nationals.
Now, Hannah, you're majoring in elementary education, correct?
Yep.
Which is probably just what it sounds like. You're learning how to be a teacher for or a mentor for young men and boys and girls, I guess would be the better word.
Yeah.
And I know you're also involved in this fantastic charity, and the more I learn about it, the more I want to get behind it, which is the Little Bellas.
Yeah.
Can you tell folks who are the Little Bellas and what you've done with them?
So Little Bellas is an organization for 7 through 13-year-old girls, and we empower through mountain biking. So we teach them self-confidence, and it's all girls. So that really helps them come out of their shell and try things that they might not try otherwise.
Fantastic. And I would imagine for you it's really gratifying to start with some of these girls and then see them gain confidence, through the sport of mountain biking?
Yeah, so I work with the 7-year-olds, and I usually run sweeps, so I'm in the back of the group. And that's where you see a lot of improvement, because those girls will come in and they'll barely be able to ride a bike. They'll be swerving everywhere. And then by the end of the program, they're going over routes and going off little drops and everything, which is so cool to watch.
Nice. Well,
yeah.
Congrats on that, Hannah. It's just fantastic community service that you're providing there. And has there been the opportunity to maybe bring in some of the other Tornado mountain biking team, into the mix?
It's mostly during the summer, so a lot of the other girls go home and stuff. So
right, and you're of course local from Brevard, North Carolina, right
yeah.
here in town in Brevard High School. So great work, Hannah. Congratulations on that. And as you're listening to that, Nathan, as someone who's been mountain biking, when did you start? What age?
Oh man, it's been a while. Probably 10 years old.
Yeah, so if you started around 10 years old, is there something to that as far as this being a unique sport that a boy or girl can gain confidence, can learn, how to live life, through, riding mountain bikes?
Absolutely. I always like to, inspire kids and try to get them more on bikes more often. Like we have the NICA teams going on, and like it's pretty awesome to see the progression of kids getting into the sport. It's a really good program.
Nice. Well, it's my understanding there's an event this weekend that is, sort of an optional event if you want to get one more in before the USA Cycling National Championships up in Beach Mountain, hosted by App State. And then the national championships are around the corner, Big Bear Lake, California. Can you guys each kind of comment, where the team's at heading towards those national championships and maybe, what the coaches have been telling you?
So heading towards those events, we're obviously just going out there to do our best. Whatever that is, that's what Brad and Cypress always say. And I mean, I don't know.
Hey, it's actually a pretty, I think, good philosophy to have because it kind of takes the pressure off of and obviously it's working because every week I look at the results and the amount of podium and race wins, the totals just continue to astonish us. So I would say keep doing whatever you're doing. Nathan, anything to add as far as kind of the progression as the season goes along? What I keep on hearing from your coaches is it's all about the nationals.
Absolutely. It's definitely that's our main focus is, to finish out strong. And kind of like she's saying, they want us to go out there and do our best and everything. So I think, the team's been growing a lot and everybody's been getting faster and faster all season. So I think it's going to wrap up to be a really good race.
Awesome. Well, before I let you go, I enjoy giving this opportunity to all the student athletes who come here on Tornado Talk, which is a chance for you to thank anyone who's helped you along the way or give a shout out to anyone who might be watching either live or on replay. The floor is yours. Hannah, we'll start with you.
I'd like to thank my dad. He's helped me a lot. He actually owns a local bike shop, Sycamore Cycles. He's done a lot for me, and he's done a lot for the team this year, too. Very good.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people who've helped get me to where I'm at. Definitely my parents and my grandparents and all the sponsors and everything. And it's really been a group effort to get me where I'm at. So that's a huge thank you to all of them, as always.
Well, thank you for coming on Tornado Talk. Keep up the great work. We love following, Brevard College cycling and, the team as they continue through the season. And we'll be following you through those national championships and then on to the cyclocross and road season. So thanks again for joining Tornado Talk. Great job on the show tonight, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. All right, that was Hannah Dixon and Nathan St. Clair, two of those mountain bikers from the Brevard College cycling team. Another big weekend for Brevard College cycling up in Bristol, Virginia, event hosted by King University. As we're joined now, the two goalkeepers from the Brevard College women's soccer team. So we'll shift gears yet again, now headed out to the pitch. Joined now by Hannah Weatherall and Rebecca Rojas, two goalkeepers on the Brevard College women's soccer team. Thanks for joining the show.
Thank you for having us.
Well, outside of the baseball coaching staff who are making their debut here on Tornado Talk, the theme so far tonight's been veteran, presence. You guys are old pros at this. You've been on the show before, and I would like to start with this. A big win last week in Charlotte at Johnson and Wales. I know it was gratifying, something that the Tornadoes have been, trying to accomplish all season, been knocking at the door, all these close win or losses or draws, it can wear on just a fan like, me, but I can imagine you all as players. How did that feel to finally get the W?
Well, it felt really great. You don't see a goalkeeper run across the field too often. And so once Bree scored, I sprinted, and it was really good to have that team camaraderie again and just have that win on our backs. And we worked hard throughout the 110 minutes that we played or so, and it was just really kind of inspiring and uplifting, and definitely kept our heads up.
Mm-hmm. I'd say the same. It was really rewarding to finally come out with a win after going into overtime multiple times and always coming up short, either losing or coming out with a tie. And so we knew we could beat that team after the whole game. We knew we could beat them, and Bree just never stopped working. And I told her at halftime, keep working, Bree. Like, you're going to get one. You're going to get one. And when she finally scored and I ran and gave her a hug and tackled her, it was so sweet because she looked at me and she saw me. She goes, "Oh, Hannah, we won." And you could just tell, like, she was just so happy because she's just worked so hard. So she just deserved that goal, and I'm so happy for her and the team.
Yeah, hard-earned goal, hard-earned win, and
Yes.
certainly a gratifying night last week in Charlotte with the win over Johnson & Wales. The goal came in the 108th minute, so we're talking only 2 minutes left in the second overtime before, maybe even yet another draw. Already had registered 2 draws this season. Time's ticking away. It's almost the end of the second overtime. How does that feel as a soccer team? That sense of urgency, like, hey, we got to do it right now.
As I said before, it's definitely stressful when we only have 20 minutes total to score a goal and to not let a goal in. And it shows a lot about our team. It shows the grit that we have and the heart, and just that we're willing to work the full 90, 110 minutes, however long it takes us to get the final that we want. And so it definitely shows a lot from my girls and a lot from our team in general, just what kind of team we are.
I agree. I know I kept cheering the whole game. I was counting down in overtime. So after the first 10 minutes went up, I kept going, all right, girls, 9 minutes, 8 minutes, 7 minutes. I just kind of helped try to keep that sense of urgency on the bench because I know our girls were tired in the field. You could tell. And so we tried to keep some energy from the bench and just encouraging them, like, hey, keep trying, because we knew they were trying hard. And so, like Rebecca said, the grit, I think it just really shows that. I mean, to score with 2 or 3 minutes left in a double overtime, it was really rewarding, and it shows how much work we put into it.
Now, Brianna Link, who scored that game-winning goal, happens to be from your hometown, Rebecca, Murrieta, California. How do 2 women soccer players from Murrieta, California wind up at Brevard, North Carolina?
I absolutely have no idea, but I'm thankful that it happened. I haven't seen Bree play, really. I mean, we practiced a lot and we ran a lot over the summer, but I haven't seen her play since 2 years, since her sophomore year in high school. When I saw her play her first game and even her first practice, I was like kind of taken away just to see her growth as a player and as a person on and off the field. And so I'm really proud of her. And I'm really thankful that she's here. It's definitely nice having another Cali girl around. Lane was here last year, and then I thought it was just going to be me. So it's nice to have someone back at home that understands what it's like being here.
Yeah, and Hannah, we touched on this before a little bit. You're from Louisiana, while Rebecca's from California. I'm from Miami, Florida. It doesn't really matter where you're from, because once you get here to Brevard College, it's kind of the place to be.
It really is.
So what makes Brevard College so special that regardless of where you might be from in the United States, this is such an attractive place?
I think it just the people, honestly, between my professors and my fellow teammates and students and friends. I mean, I've made friends that I'm going to have for a lifetime here. And so just in addition to the school itself, and I mean the area, I always go back to that. It's kind of, as Rebecca would say, a 2-for-1. Like, I mean, you have
Nice.
beautiful scenery and then a great school with great people. So I just don't really think you can get anything better anywhere else.
I have taken a lot of steps back and just appreciate everything that I have here at Brevard. I'm so thankful for, like Hannah said, the professors and just like the friends and memories I made here. Just a beautiful area with just beautiful and welcoming people that I wasn't necessarily used to back at home.
Now, the listening audience and viewing audience will get a chance to see the Tornadoes in action again this week. Game tomorrow, Tuesday night. Can you talk about preparation for that and sort of where the team's mindset is heading into tomorrow's match?
I think it's really going to come down to just our mental toughness. Like Coach likes to mention, it's about grit, it's about having heart, and it's going to come out tomorrow. So the girls just know we've got to come out and play our hardest game of soccer if we want a good result.
And our theme, I would like to say, for the season is just hard work. Hard work when it's overtime, hard work when we're on the field, and consistently hard working in practice. And so throughout our week, we have worked. You've seen a drastic change in our work ethic within practice. And so just remaining positive on the field, too, and hard work. And like Hannah said, just grit.
Tuesday night, October 1st. Tomorrow, if you're watching this program live, 6 p.m. at Ives Lamel Family Field. Tornadoes will host Piedmont College. Another USA South Conference match. Can you talk about the intensity and maybe, again, urgency when it comes to playing conference matches versus a non-conference foe?
So conference matches, they all matter, but these conference games are important just with our standing and our ranks. And when we had our first conference game, it was a different setting in the locker room. Hannah played a really good motivational video that really, as a team, let us get mentally focused. And so it's a different type of preparation mentally, both on the field and off the field, because it's game time. It's time to play. It's time to win.
I agree. And the video, the main message behind it was make it count. And so I think that really just comes to show in these conference games, like make it count. In a regular game, yes, they're important, like Rebecca said, but in these conference games, I mean, every pass matters, every shot matters. And so just make it count. Go out and play with grit, play with heart. And these are big games. And so when you win these big games, it means a lot to the team, and it can drastically change the whole dynamic of the team. So just to help us go forward.
Fantastic. And I'd like to leave it with this. You're back at home after playing quite a few road matches these last couple weeks.
Yes.
You're going to have, the home crowd behind you, and you're also going to have the benefit of, because now the sun's going down a little earlier, playing under those lights, which creates sort of an electric type atmosphere. Can you talk about, one, how good it is to be back home and playing on your home field, and two, do the lights add a little more oomph to it all?
To touch on the fans, our fans are amazing. The men's soccer and our professors come out, and we have even the staff and faculty, Christy and Lay and Dr. Joyce and the president, they all come out and support us. And knowing that they're on our side watching and supporting us really definitely adds that extra grit during warm-up and even within saving balls and whatnot and passing. It's like they're watching, so you better perform and show up. And under the lights, it just gives you a different type of energy. It's that excitement. It's something about it just definitely just makes me continue to work hard.
Yeah, I agree. It's nice to be home. It's nice to not be on a bus for hours. And so we can just be there and we're home. And so like Rebecca said, we have this fan base. And so you want to go out and you want to make them proud. So, I mean, we haven't played at home in a while. So we want to give them a good game.
We want to give them a good show and a good fought hard game.
Well, come on out, folks. 6 p.m. is the start of tomorrow night's women's soccer match against Piedmont. Now, you guys both did this a couple weeks ago, but maybe you were able to put a little more thought into it. And, I'll give you another opportunity. If there's anybody you want to thank or give a shout-out to, back home, the floor is yours.
Well, I will say hello to my mom again. I think she might be watching. So, hi, Mom. I love you.
I want to specifically point out first my mom. I hope you have a butterfly night. And then my dad, I will talk to you tomorrow morning.
Very good. Well, appreciate all that. You got to love the power of social media these days. And thanks again for coming on Tornado Talk. Good luck tomorrow night. We'll see you out there at Ives Lamel Family Field.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Women's soccer goalkeepers Hannah Weatherall and Rebecca Rojas. Great to catch up with those two. Nice job on Tornado Talk. And we certainly will be paying very close attention, and hopefully you can join us too out there for the women's soccer game at Ives Lamel Family Field, 6 p.m. on Tuesday night as the Tornadoes take on Piedmont. And joined now by head football coach Bill Kyatt. Coach Kyatt, thanks for joining Tornado Talk.
Appreciate you having me, Phil. Good to see you again.
Likewise. Well, Coach, a 40-9 victory on the road on Saturday at Allen University in Columbia, South Carolina. A big result for the Tornadoes. Overall thoughts?
Well, to tell you the truth, going into this game, I was definitely a little apprehensive, only because the previous week we had such a huge victory over Christopher Newport, and I knew these guys had left everything on the field. So we now have guys that are mentally and physically exhausted. Then we have guys that were banged up and unable to travel. And now we have a shorter roster, meaning not as many players taking the trip because we can't take our entire team there. And looking at that temperature, we knew it was going to be hot and needing a lot of bodies. So it was one of those games that set itself up to where we could have come out flat and gotten ourselves into a big fight, and it was going to take quite some time to be able to turn it around. Fortunately for us, we started out with a bang, and our manager, Mariel Parks, returned that opening kickoff for a touchdown. It was just too bad that there was a call for holding on that play and brought it back, but at least we came out there firing. Now, the one part about this is identifying our team. Okay, what kind of identity we have. So that's 2 weeks now where we have started out slow on offense, and we've needed the defense to hold everyone at bay until the offense can get things sorted out, pick it up, and then get going. So headlines are always reading about unanswered points, and I just want to make sure that these players understand that You can't do that every time because at some point that could come back to bite you.
Sure. All three phases of the game, certainly with all sorts of success. I'd like to start with the defense. A school record for single-game interceptions with 5 interceptions. Across all levels of football, you don't see many games where you get 5 interceptions all in one matchup. Can you talk about that? Certainly has been a strength of the team both last year and continuing on into this season, but just how big that is to get 5 picks.
Well, you got to think about it's a combination of things. I mean, you're going to have pass rush to get that quarterback to make a throw. They've got to keep their lanes and contain the quarterback. So now he has a limited window to see. And now you have veterans on the back half who are smothering people. So now, hey, this may be my first read. Well, that's not there. Here's my second read. Well, that's not there. Heck, I don't even have a third read. I may need to get rid of this ball. So you don't want to take the sack. You try to get rid of it, and these could result in some sacks. Now, there's also some schematic things that we do where we bait a player into thinking, hey, he's open. Why don't you throw it there? Knowing the whole time we're really going to be there when that ball's thrown. So there's a lot of different tactics that Coach Jakes uses for our players to put them in the best position. But really it's the execution from the defense that has just been fabulous over these first 2 games. I mean, you're talking about 7.5 points per game over 2 games.
Wow. Yeah, no kidding, Coach. And, do want to mention Quentin Jackson, who was a guest earlier this evening or this season on the show. He was named last week, after the show last week, D3Football.com's Team of the Week. He was a selection for that. He goes on with another interception. That ends up being a pick 6. Interceptions are one thing, but when you're able to, return them for a touchdown and immediately get 6 more points on the board, how big is that?
And especially at the time of the game when Allen has already gone up and offense still trying to find their way and sort through things in that opening quarter, and that came right before the end of the first quarter. And that's just a huge momentum swing, and it's great for a sigh of relief for the whole team to know, okay, we got some points on the board, now let's go do this thing.
Interceptions as well by Andreas Wyatt and Wesley Ross, along with 2 freshmen, Rook Tate and Tay Sullivan. Sullivan goes on, and today it was announced, wins the USA South Defensive Rookie Player of the Week. A big performance there for those 2. How about as far as, those newcomers go to be able to get a pick this early in their career?
Oh, and it's great to watch these guys grow in such a short amount of time. So we've really only had them since the middle of August, and only a few opportunities to get out on the field. And I let all the players know, hey, you have to prepare as if you are starting because you have no idea when your number is going to get called. And when it does get called, you perform. That's now your job. And, as far as Sullivan's concerned, he's been doing some fabulous things on special teams. So just some awards that we give within our own program that wouldn't be related to the public. We have him several times on these special teams, big hit awards, and just doing some great things. And, same thing with Tate. I mean, he just knows where to be. He's a very smart player. And to be able to make plays when the plays are presented lets you know what kind of football player you really are.
Well, later tonight we'll also be meeting up with Dante Anderson, the junior safety, leads all Tornadoes with 10 tackles, 6 solo, 4 assists, including a tackle for loss. Forces one of those Allen fumbles that were, more opportunities created for turnovers. A big night for Dante Anderson.
Well, for the more advanced watchers and listeners, okay, they might see that he gets listed as a defensive back or a safety, and typically you wouldn't want your safety, somebody way back in the defensive backfield, making all the tackles.
Sure.
That sounds like a lot of plays and yards being gained by the offense. But Dante is an incredible athlete that can play in a lot of different spots. So he really does line up that if you just made them X's and O's, that he could be in a linebacker position. He can be up on the line of scrimmage. So to have the ability to have that kind of speed to play in the back end, but to have the size and strength to play closer to the line of scrimmage, and then to be able to make all of those tackles, because typically that's in somebody in the secondary, that's a nightmare for you to have somebody running downhill at you all day long. Not Dante Anderson. Not at all. And, he has a great nose for the ball, awareness on defense. And, he's a guy that can make 10 tackles because he really has a high football IQ and understands just everything that is operating in front of him. And he can see it all. I think he's the kind of athlete that slows the game down So in his mind, he operates at such a high speed that he can see this thing play out almost in slow motion, and that's how he can make these plays.
You mentioned earlier pass rush, and Stephen Kennedy was a guest on the show last week, records a sack. Certainly, Allen under all sorts of pressure, and ultimately resulting in those 5 interceptions. Can you talk about, in specific, the pass rush? I know Coach Axel Easter has been working with that unit a lot, but it's not only coming from the D line, but oftentimes in some blitz packages and from the outside linebackers.
Right, and Coach Jakes does a wonderful job with his schemes during the week, whether it's hey, we'll splash the water over here, but everything's really happening over here. So it makes it difficult for an offensive line, quarterback, running backs, tight end, whoever's in the pass protection to really identify who's coming. And you think these guys are coming, we better block those. But really it's these guys over here. But then as soon as you go, okay, they're doing that, and then over here, now it's back to there. So it's really a great way to free some of these guys up. So, yes, some of these sacks, some of these hurries are what we call free hitters, meaning that there's nobody blocking them because somehow the protection got tangled up trying to identify them. And then other times it's great technique work. So Coach Easter, you had him on the show last year when he was Axel Easter, the player, and racking up all those sacks. Well, who better to coach these guys than somebody with the battlefield experience? So he knows SWAT and rips and all kind of counter moves, so he can give all these guys the best techniques to use to try to get to that quarterback.
Now, to the offensive side of the ball, Damon Rouse, who we had on the show as well, this seems to be the theme here. Another big night, 10 carries, 99 yards, and there's something about the number 29. I don't know if you put this together either, Coach, but Rouse wears the number 29. He had a 29-yard touchdown run for the second straight week. Something about the number 29 in this guy, but bottom line is Coach Eric Gallen, who works with the running backs, and Rouse have really got something going here.
Oh, yeah, and he when a player is really, really good, all the other players on the team know how good he really is. And so the entire roster is aware of how special of a running back he really is. And, making the transition from Chowan to here, that's where we got him from. And, there's a lot of paperwork and red tape that gets involved when you're making the transition from one school to another. And, we were just keeping our fingers crossed that everything was going to go through, which it did. And Angie Mascaro and her team really worked well to make sure that he got here on time. Because as you've heard in the past, I think from Dalton Cole about our schemes, and they're a little more complicated than others. And he would need to know a lot. So, yes, he runs the ball, but he needs to pass protect. He needs to catch out of the backfield. He needs to do a lot of things. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, he is a good, pure runner. And he has balance, anticipation, vision. So, there's a lot of key attributes that a running back needs to be successful that he possesses.
And another big night from Tornado signal caller Dalton Cole, gets it done with his legs again. We saw that earlier this season, but certainly had a good night in the air as well. Big touchdown play in particular to Blake Taylor, 60-yard strike. Also able to connect with Ralph Roman III, Brandon Norris, and Jamie Turner on several occasions. Pleased with the passing game, Coach?
Yeah, so what has transpired over the past 2 weeks, okay, when we're talking about this offense starting off so slowly and then gradually getting it going, when you think about the opponent, okay, so now an opponent is looking at Brevard College. They're going to try to find tendencies or weaknesses or try to find something that they can take advantage of. So if they're going to put something new in that they haven't shown on film, you're not going to wait till the fourth quarter or the third quarter to implement it. You're going to come out right away and be like, we're going to show them this because they haven't seen that yet. So when you have 11 players on the offense that have 3 years of playing experience and they're now seniors, then it doesn't matter what gets thrown at you, you can handle it all because you've seen it all before, regardless of it's something new for that particular team or not. But for us, we're a lot younger. So that problem with the experience is that you get the test first, and then the lesson comes after.
Right.
So there's a whole lot of film on Monday to describe everything and point out, you see this, if you just done that. So we prepare them as much as you can, but in football, there's a lot of moving parts. So you'll be chasing a lot of ghosts if you try to cover every possible scenario out there. So you give them the best that you can for in general scenarios, and then you hope that on game day that they'll be able to work it out. But so once, Dalton settles in and sees, hey, okay, the coverage that we expected to see, that's all they've shown, and now all of a sudden they're doing something entirely different. Okay, wonderful by Allen. Good job. All right, so now how do we make our adjustments and counter? You need to do this, 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 and this. And once we got that information to Dalton, now he was able to connect with Blake Taylor on a 60-yard pass right down the middle of the field. We were able to hit some underneath routes, find the opening spots. So now it's here to here when the whole week I was practicing here to here. So that's kind of how the things unfold. So it's not that we don't have a plan and we don't know. It's really just from experience. So the more Dalton sees, I mean, he has a whole lot of accolades after his name. He's done some incredible things. But really, when it comes down to it, he's played 12 college football games.
Right.
12.
And new to the system.
Yeah, so, it's I think he's really doing an outstanding job when you really, really look at all the facts.
Yep. In the third phase, a big night for Brevard College special teams, and another award handed out, Special Teams Player of the Week for USA South Conference. Jackson Youngblood, freshman punter, averages 56 yards per attempt in the win at Allen, pins Allen inside the 20-yard line 3 times, and boomed a 56-yard punt, a new career high. A worthy award for Youngblood, but certainly a big night for all the special teams.
Yeah, and I think that all your listeners probably know the name of my special teams coach by now. But
Jaron Gavea.
There you go. But Coach Gavea, I mean, really, honestly, I mean, he just has he's so excited about special teams and what advantages we can gain on all of those phases, because there are a lot of snaps that are taken on special teams, and people a lot of times just push that off to the side. They just think, hey, you punt return, and hey, we'll just all keep it even here and just let it go as a play. And we see that as such an advantage to either change field position, get a score, get a block, do something to really swing the momentum. So that is something that is so demoralizing to a team if you get a punt blocked, if you get a kickoff returned on you for a touchdown. Just a huge return. Just think about a kick return that doesn't score, but it goes all the way to the 50-yard line. Now all of a sudden the defense is on their heels. They got to come out and defend a short field. So there's a whole lot of things that happen, and Coach Gavea is always in attack mode. So even it doesn't mean necessarily that he's blocking a punt, let's say. It could be setting up a return, but he's still going to attack all of those players that are down there trying to cover that punt. So, I mean, that is his mindset, that he's always aggressive, always attacking, because he knows what a profound effect great plays on special teams can have on the outcome of the game.
Jackson Youngblood wins that Player of the Week award for special teams for the USA South Conference. We're going to have place kicker Stamati Damalos on the show in a little bit here. I know you have a good kickoff specialist as well. How hard is it to find a quality kicker across all of football? It's an elusive thing in a lot of times, and it seems like you've suddenly have some depth in that area.
Well, I'm sure Stamati will talk about this when he gets up here, but to amateurs, to football that aren't really aware of everything that goes on, too many times I hear someone say about a kicker, "Oh, you only have one job. You can't make it. You can't put it between the uprights." And there's a whole operation behind all of this that takes place. So yes, that is all you do, but it's not all you do. So I mean, a golfer. I mean, how many professional golfers every single time they tee off, it's straight down the middle. It goes exactly where they want to go. Well, that's all they do. They tee off all day. So yeah, the ball's stationary, but you have a snap. That's got to do something. It's got to be accurate, high, low, wobbling, bad. Then you have a holder, okay, and there is one little spot where you want to put that ball. So think about the golf balls on a tee. That thing's not moving off the tee. Now, wind might blow it off, but that thing's going to be right there. All right, so when you're swinging at it, it's not going anywhere.
Yep.
Well, all right, you have that spot to get down. Well, what if the snap's way over here? What if it's way over here and you're just trying to get that thing down? So now your foot is not going to hit exactly in the spot that you want it to, that you've practiced all the time at. So, I mean, it is a very intricate skill to be able to just kick a field goal. And, you know, a lot of these kids in high school can do it. They're kicking off a block that's this high. So they're getting a natural loft to the ball now, kicking off the ground. And I am just so impressed with Stamati and what he was able to do during the offseason. I don't know if he's going to let you into any of his secrets.
I'll try my best, Coach.
But if you, you know, you're quite the interviewer if you can pull all the information from him. But at any rate, you know, last year his consistency was decent, but his range was lacking. And that's difficult as an offense when you get into the red zone. When you're talking about scoring in the red zone, fourth down situations, where do we have to go to be able to make a field goal? And last year was a whole different world. Now we come into 2019, and what a comfort it is to know, especially for somebody calling plays, to now say, okay, we don't have to get to the 5-yard line before we can kick a field goal. So, you know, Stamati's only miss of the day was 44 yards that had plenty of leg. So it's not even a distance issue. So, you know, that I was just very, very impressed with his performance in the game.
Very good, Coach. Now, turning the page to what is on tap this week, and I know today's practice session was a valuable one to you on Monday night, and, you know, eye in the sky, you know, perhaps some thunderstorms coming into the Brevard area. Bottom line is Maryville's coming to town this Saturday, 3 p.m. matchup at Brevard Memorial Stadium. Homecoming game, so a lot of festivities off the field, but I'm sure you prefer the team stays focused on Maryville. Can you preview the Maryville matchup a bit for us?
All right, well, you mentioned the thunderstorms. All right, so maybe the luck will be on our side. Beautiful rainbow over the stretch lines today. So you can see that pot of gold sitting right there, so hopefully that pot of gold is the victory come Saturday. But, no, there are a lot of festivities that take place during the week. And, you know, I just want to make sure that our players, all right, don't get caught up in all the hype. I mean, rumors about a pep rally. We got plenty of alumni that want to come back and have the game jerseys on and be on the sidelines. I mean, a lot of people want to get involved in several of the things that we're doing as a football team. And what I had to tell these players, most of these guys on our team were 8 or 9 years old the last time Brevard College football was in this situation. Undefeated in non-conference play, 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
And so these kids don't even know anything about the success of a program on the college level. So now it's a whole another set of teaching moments for these guys, and how do you handle success? And now you have people patting on your back, what a great job you've done. Oh, I'm so impressed and love coming to the games. So now with that, how do you handle that? And what do you do with it? So I want these guys to take this and use that energy and momentum and carry that in to Maryville. Because this team right here, I know Coach Hayes well, all right, and he has his coaching staff, guys he knows and trusts. He's either coached with them a long time at Maryville or has known them from the past. So he has his plan. And what he does is he has his formula, and he just gets guys to come in and fit the formula.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't mold it around the guys he has. He picks the guys and sticks them into that blueprint. And then he just keeps getting better people every year to make that machine run even more efficiently. So that's kind of his style. And then overall, offensively, hey, there's so many zones that you got to cover as a defensive team. All right? We're just going to play numbers. All right? You got 4 over there? We'll go over here. We have 3. You move the 4th guy over there. Now we'll go over there. So that's all he's doing, is just trying to work you over. And, you know, very, very well-coached team. Defensively, these guys have gotten much bigger than they were last year. They're always big. They're always physical. Weight room is one of the things that they really preach. And so very sound, okay? And much like we were talking about in the out-of-conference play and the teams that you set up, so the way Christopher Newport would set up against going big hitters, Maryville, who, of course, went 7-0 last year in the conference, they were 0-3 in the preseason or non-conference play. And this year they're 0-3 again, because what they do is they want to prepare to move on in the playoffs. They don't just want to get to the first round and get knocked out like they did last year. They want to try to move on in the playoffs. And that's why they play those games, so that now they get into conference play, and they're just going to try to hammer everybody that's in front of them. So Now we're back to more of a Christopher Newport style of game. It could be slugfest, could be grinding it out, and really who can master their side of the ball better during the course of the game. And basically whoever does that, now there's got to be that will to win. I mean, we can give them all the knowledge, but if you don't execute and you don't do it, then it doesn't help you.
Well, it sounds like a fantastic matchup. It's going to be an exciting one. Brevard versus Maryville this Saturday, October 5th at Brevard Memorial Stadium. It's the homecoming game, all sorts of off-the-field festivities for you fans, but come on out, 3 o'clock at Brevard Memorial Stadium this Saturday, Brevard versus Maryville. Coach, thanks for coming on the program. Looking forward to talking to a couple of your student athletes now. And thanks again, Coach. We'll see you this weekend.
Okay, you appreciate it. Thanks, Phil.
All right, head football coach Bill Kyatt has recapped that big win over Allen and previewed the Maryville matchup this weekend. Make your plans now, 3 p.m. at Brevard Memorial Stadium. As Coach mentioned, very likely will be a slugfest between the Tornadoes and Maryville. And glad to be joined now by two of those student athletes on the Tornado football team as they get settled here at Dugan's Pub. Joined now by Dante Anderson, junior defensive back out of Hartwell, Georgia, and Stamati Damalos, kicker out of Tarpon Springs, Florida. Gentlemen, thanks for joining Tornado Talk.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us.
Great to have you on here. Stamati, do me a favor. Just bring that nice and close there. Perfect. All right, guys. Well, big win this weekend against Allen. I know how you student athletes work and you football players work. You're already on to the next thing, but do me a favor. Let's talk Allen a little bit. You know, we can look back and smile and laugh about it and all that, but it was a big, big win for the program. You know, all sorts of records were broken. Just a big night altogether. It's always good to go on the road and get the W. You know, it makes that bus ride home a lot nicer, right? So, Dante, we'll start with you. You had a big game defensively. How did you guys feel as a unit on the defensive side on Saturday night?
Well, we went in and we had to go in confident, and we knew that we were the better team, but we had to realize that we couldn't underestimate our opponent. So, like, even when we was up 26-3 at halftime, we were still telling each other, hey, it's a 0-0 game, and we got to keep playing until the game is over. So, and also our defensive coordinator, Luke Jakes, he always emphasizes pursuit and effort. So, I always run to the ball and give 110%.
Very good. Well, it sounds like you all really kept the pedal to the metal all the way through that contest, all 4 quarters. Stamati, big night for you, 4 for 4 in the extra points. You drilled that 40-yard field goal to close out the first half for the Tornadoes. How'd you feel from your perspective?
That 40-yarder felt good. I mean, early in the game, I kicked a 44 and I missed it wide right, but I still had the leg for, I'd say, almost 50. But 40 felt great to go into half, and everyone on the sideline dabbed me up and give me high fives going into halftime, so it felt good. Had momentum.
Stamati, if we can stick with you a little bit, and Coach got into this a little bit. Can you talk about that whole process of pulling off a successful field goal and how it's not just all on you, you know, and how you need, you know, your teammates taking care of you, and probably, you know, you put through a lot of practice and reps with your guys, you know, getting ready. So, you know, feel free to give a shout out to whoever you like, but I'm talking long snapper, holder, anybody else who might be part of that equation.
Well, obviously I have to give a shout out to Brandon Whitfield, my long snapper, and Joe Golo, my placeholder. And then to tweak me during practice and pregame, Coach Gallen, Coach Jaron, and Jackson Youngblood, another kicker behind me, but he's also our punter. But even in practice, when Whitfield's doing safety things with Coach Jaron, I'm still giving Joe practice snaps for placeholding because it's down to a T how the smallest mistake will affect the kick. So even with lean, so if he leans it to the left, I'm going to hook it. Leans it too much to him, I'm not going to hit the sweet spot to have it go straight down the middle.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts there. Like Coach said, you know, that fans don't might not understand, just what all goes into it. Dante, are you active on special teams as well?
Not really. I'm mostly backups on punt return and kickoff.
Gotcha. But you realize, of course, how
Yeah,
valuable guys like
it is.
the man on your left is, Stamati.
Definitely.
No doubt about it. Dante, you guys have just been ball hawks.
Yes, sir.
All season long, dating back to last year. That turnover belt gets going. The place starts to, really start feeling good. But there's something to be said for getting the actual interception, and it's easier said than done. It doesn't just happen. I'm sure that's something, just like Stamani was talking about, putting in time on the kicking side, that you guys work on how to actually intercept the ball, and whether it's a tip ball or a clean pass. Can you talk about that and what it takes to get an interception?
Oh, well, first I'd like to give a big shout out to the D-line, because they actually get pressure on the quarterback, and his ball is not always perfect. And then we have great DBs in Andreas Wyatt and Quentin Jackson and Ross, who has been here for 3 years, and they just know how to go up and get the ball and make plays, which is good for us because we have more experience in the secondary than probably anywhere else.
Now, you also forced a fumble this past weekend. Can we talk about that and kind of the subtleties of that? Is there an art to forcing a fumble, to jarring that ball out of the ball carrier's grips?
There actually is. So Luke Jakes, he teaches us. It's called Peanut Tillman. He played in the NFL, and he always had a certain way that he would punch the ball. But my forced fumble, I thought our D-line had got the sack, but the quarterback got loose, and he started scrambling, and I just went in for the tackle, and I honestly didn't know I forced it. But unfortunately, they got back on it. But again, Coach Jakes, he's always teaching us the little things that you might not be thinking about going for the ball or pursuing to the ball and stuff like that.
Now, Stamati, would like to talk about your background a little bit. You're from Tarpon Springs, Florida. I see here that you were a 3-sport athlete, tennis, soccer, and football, of course. Can you talk about your upbringing and maybe when you started actually kicking a football?
Well, I played soccer when I was 4 years old, and I quit actually this summer right before I came out my freshman year. So I played club ball, travel ball all the way up till then. Tennis, I just played in high school for fun with a bunch of friends. But I kicked around freshman year, but not on a football team. My cousin or godbrother, Louis Zervis, he's up in Ohio Bobcats. He told me to come kick with him one day while he was practicing during the season, and it just started to stick with me. And then senior year, my little brother comes in as a freshman. I was like, I'm just playing football with him. And I showed up, I think, picture day, the week before our first game, and I was on the team for my senior year.
Very nice. Well, it's always interesting how these kickers get to where they're at, and so many of them have soccer backgrounds. But it's really two different skills, right? I mean, kicking a soccer ball is nothing like kicking a football.
No, soccer ball is round, and football is more point, but also is round. But it's like many people think, oh, I'm just gonna go kick it like a normal soccer ball, and usually you see the ball get squibbed, and it's not like a normal end-over-end type of kick.
And Dante, out of Hartwell, Georgia, Hart County High School. Similar question to you. When did you start playing football, and was it always on the defensive side of the ball?
I actually didn't start playing football until 8th grade. Growing up, a lot of my friends were playing like recreational football, and I was really the only one who really wasn't playing. So I didn't start until the 8th grade. And in high school, everybody played both sides of the ball, so I did play receiver as well. But I was more successful as a defensive player than I was offensive player. So I just stuck with defense and just been, I felt like, good ever since. Just like being here, giving my effort.
Well, we talked quite a bit about Allen. We talked about you all's background. Now it's time to get to business. Maryville,
Yeah.
5 days away or so. You guys just came off the practice field this evening. What are the coaches telling you as far as what you need to do this week to get the W against Maryville?
Just going with the same energy that we basically had against Christopher Newport, because we knew they were a powerhouse school from Virginia. And a lot of people, I feel like, doubted us and thought that we were supposed to lose by like 35 points. But I feel like if we prepare this week mentally and that everybody get back healthy, then we got a real good chance at going and getting a W and being 3-0.
Like the coach said, we just got to. Well, for me, it's simple. It's just people think it's just go kick the field goal, but I'm studying field goal block. Sometimes on kickoffs, what their kickoff return team does, but and then also giving our punt return and kickoff return team looks. So giving them the type of balls that they'll be getting, and also just keep watching film and just study our opponents. Like Dante said, we're a 35-point underdog for Christian Newport. So if we come in with the same energy as Christian Newport, we'll come out with the dub.
Yeah, and Stamati, do want to hear your comments on this guy. Jackson Youngblood was named USA South Special Teams Player of the Week. Boomed a 56-yarder. He averaged 46 yards across the night. What's going on with Jackson? He's just booming the ball, huh?
He's got great technique and great flexibility. Like if you compare even when he does field goals, you can compare my flexibility to his. It's just he gets his leg so much higher, and the higher you get your leg, the more distance and the higher hang time you'll get. So he's got a lot of stuff that he's got in his briefcase for secrets.
Very nice. Well, as I mentioned to Coach, it's an exciting unit you guys have. A lot of times, these more glamorous, positions, they get all the headlines, but you guys have got some great things going on. Stamati Damos and also Damon Hewitt, who's been handling a lot of the kickoffs, has been doing a great job as a freshman. He's got a big leg himself. And Jackson Youngblood, USA South Special Teams Player of the Week. And meanwhile, one of your teammates, Tay Sullivan, wins Defensive Rookie of the Week. Here comes this freshman with this huge game this past Saturday. What do you think about Sullivan?
Well, first off, he's really physical. He also plays safety. And then for Allen, Coach Jakes had him spying the quarterback majority of the game. So wherever the quarterback went, he went. And he messed up here and there, but he also made plays. He had a sack, and he also had the interception. And I feel like if he keep it up, he can really help us on the defensive side.
Very nice. Well, gentlemen, I'll leave it with this. You mentioned some thank yous of some people that have maybe helped you along the way in recent times, but, I'm going to give the floor to you. Anybody you want to give a shout-out to, anyone who's helped you, any family who might be tuning in, the floor is yours, whoever you'd like to give a shout-out to.
I'd like to give a shout-out to Coach Jakes, our defensive coordinator, and then also my family back at home.
Very nice.
My mom, my dad, my little brother, and everyone that supports me. So,
very good. Well, gentlemen, good luck this week as the preparations continue versus Maryville. Great job on the show tonight, and we'll see you this weekend out at Brevard Memorial Stadium.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having us.
All right, that was Dante Anderson and Stamati Damalos, two of those football student athletes who were a big part of that win this weekend at Allen in Columbia, South Carolina. And want to thank them and all of our guests tonight on Tornado Talk. We heard from head baseball coach Mike Victory and assistant coach Rob Julian. We spoke with cycling student athletes Nathan St. Clair and Hannah Dixon. Women's soccer goalkeepers Rebecca Rojas and Hannah Weatherall joined us, as did head football coach Bill Kyatt and Dante Anderson and Stamati Damalos. Rounded out tonight's program. Do want to again congratulate the 4 Brevard College Tornadoes named USA South Athlete of the Week: Tay Sullivan and Jackson Youngblood from the football team, Lucas Campos from men's soccer, and Gavin Morgan from cross country. Want to thank our sponsors: Arby's, Jets Pizza, Holiday Inn Express, Ingles, Mission Sports Medicine, Comporium Pepsi, and Dugan's Pub. Hope to see you at a Tornado home athletics event this week. It all gets started Tuesday, tomorrow at 6 p.m., Tuesday, October 1st. Women's soccer hosts Piedmont at Ives Lamel Family Field. Then Wednesday, the men's soccer team will be hosting Maryville at 7 p.m. at Ives Lamel Family Field. Saturday, a big day. It's homecoming on the Brevard College campus and through Brevard, North Carolina. At 1 p.m. on Saturday, the men's tennis team will be facing off against Emory and Henry at the McCoy Tennis Complex. Do want to also let folks know from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturday morning, the tennis team is hosting a meet and greet with the area community, and certainly alumni are welcome as well. Have a chance to hit with the student athletes on the McCoy Tennis Complex tennis courts, enjoy some food, refreshments, and listen to some music, and just get to know the Brevard College Tornado tennis team a little better. Email Coach Jones at joneswb@brevard.edu if you'd like to attend. And then the men's tennis team at 1 p.m. will host Emory and Henry College. And then the big football game, as we previewed with Coach Kyatt, Saturday, October 5th, 3 p.m., the Tornadoes versus Maryville at Brevard Memorial Stadium. And one final note, at 6 p.m. Friday night, tune into Facebook Live, and we will be bringing to you the Hall of Fame inductions for the Brevard College Athletics Hall of Fame. Jeff Campbell and Coach Mike Jones being inducted, and we'll have a series of interviews there as well. Hope you can join us for that special broadcast. Be sure to follow all the latest news and updates surrounding the Tornadoes. Follow the Tornadoes on Instagram and Twitter at BC Tornadoes. Subscribe to Brevard College Tornadoes on YouTube and SoundCloud, and like Brevard College Athletics on Facebook. There's also a Flickr page where you can follow Brevard College to check out photos from all Brevard College athletic events and events around campus. And finally, do want to thank those who helped out behind the scenes tonight: Joseph Marvin, Jamarcus Walker, and Madriana Rodriguez. That's it for another sensational Tornado Talk here at Dugan's Pub. We'll see you next Monday night, or hopefully out at one of those Tornadoes sporting events. Go Tornadoes!